Welcome back to week 5 of community groups. We're glad you could join us. My name's Caden. I'm the intern and the tech guy here at Community Church Possum Kingdom. So we're going to go ahead and hop right into week 5. The questions, the videos, all of it. We hope the food was great. We hope you're having a great time. We've heard lots of testimonies, and we hope you're gaining a lot from that. Let's go ahead and jump in. As Pastor Jack explains in this next video clip, each one of us have a purpose, and each one of us have a God-given gift inside of us. And so when we discover that gift, we can walk out a purpose with God, for God. Check it out.
That's our heart, that's our posture every time we come in here. It's what it should be. And let me tell you something. That's what we're supposed to be. But as you guys come in, as everybody comes in and you become members and you get involved and you start going to all these things that we have going and you start participating in the VBS, you start participating in helping with youth and all the crazy stuff that we got going on with youth and with kids and men's and women's and small groups, and there's so many different things that we got. Each and every one of you were brought to here to this church on purpose, for a purpose. Why? Because God has placed a gift inside of you. You didn't just show up on this earth for no reason. There's a gift inside of you, and it's our job as this staff to pull that out and show it to you and say, man, look how amazing this is that God would plant this inside of you. Hey, let's put it to work to minister. And we should spread that throughout all of our community and minister to every person that we come in contact, some using the advantage of that gift that you may have or several gifts that you may have. But here's where I see the failure of these churches in some cases. Because I can sit here, it's the Christian thing to do actually, right? Like I can sit here and I can just look at everybody else's mess ups and be like, oh, look at that. That's awful. I can't believe they did that. I would never do that. But we sit back and we see these things, but what happens is we get so caught up in the rituals.
All right, jumping right in. Next question. Why is your individual posture of worship so important? Check out the clip.
No. It's our posture. It's our heart. What are we seeking after as we come into these doors every day? And as we leave these doors, what are we seeking? What is the presence of worship going? Let me get into this text before I confuse you all. We're going to get into Exodus 33. And we actually just finished 32. We talked about some of the stuff that's in here last week with that. Let me get a drink of water so the preaching ain't dry.
In this next clip, Pastor Jack talks about spiritual freedom and how it requires you to be disciplined. So, what is the hardest part of keeping focus while finding liberty in your worship?
Is everybody wants freedom until they receive freedom and don't know what to do with it. That's what happens. You see a lot of Christians. They receive freedom spiritually, right? When they ask Jesus into their heart and they just like get so crazy with this to the point to where you could almost lose track of everything by becoming very legalistic about every little thing that you do to keep you from going back to where you were. And at the beginning of it, your heart is pure and you really do want the right thing to happen and you are really pursuing God in the right posture, but you could get very legalistic in the fact of like pushing what you're protecting yourself from onto others. And it could become a very big distraction. And well, the Israelites, what they're doing is they have completely lost their minds, and this freedom they don't really understand. There's been nothing but complaining the whole time. God has promised them this land, and they have rebelled the whole time, complained the whole time. One little thing goes wrong, and it's like, oh, he's not God no more. Let's worship something else.
In this next clip, Pastor Jack dives into Exodus 33 when we talk about bringing ornaments from our past worship to our present worship and how that can affect us. So the next question is going to be, what are your ornaments?
I could come up into your midst in one moment and consume you. Now, therefore, take off your ornaments that I may know what to do to you. So the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments by Mount Horeb. Pause, because this is a big deal. So you may say, what do you mean strip the ornaments? Well, like, if you're like me, you automatically go to Christmas trees, right? So Christmas tree ornaments, no, they're not wearing big, shiny, ornaments that you would put on a tree. No, these ornaments were trinkets. And as a matter of fact, when they were in slavery, and all these plagues were going on, they would convince their masters, like, hey, listen, give me some of your, this is brilliant. And when I got to reading it, I was giggling, and I probably shouldn't have. Give me some of your trinkets, your ornaments, your jewelry, your whatever. Again, there's this mindset that they have of constantly just trying to survive, trying to get this security, right? I'm going to survive, and if I have these things, so they convinced their masters, knowing that they were going to be freed by God, they had convinced their masters to give them these ornaments, these trinkets, this jewelry, this gold, this whatever it is that they would use as their currency for trading these nice, fancy jewelry. They would keep it. And this whole journey that they're taking with Moses, after they're set free from Egypt, these trinkets and all these things were just another reminder of where they came from. They were just a reminder of where they really started. They were just a reminder of the mindset that they already had when they reached the liberty of Jesus, or not Jesus, the liberty of God. He hasn't came in the scene yet. That's a few chapters over. We'll get to that. That was a joke. You should have laughed. But they take these ornaments. Let me go back. I need to quit being silly. They take these ornaments and they shed them. Why is that such a big deal? Well, they just realized that they lost the presence of God. He says, I can't be with you anymore, and I'm going to send somebody, and I still have this land that I'm going to promise you, but I can't be down there with you like I was before when you have sinned against me. And they mourned. It's not this whininess, it is a deep grief. And this symbol that they're taking these ornaments off and laying them down, that was the final representation of where they came from. Listen to me. Some of us are coming into church, going into work, coming into your home, coming into your bedrooms with your spouses, going on vacations, doing all these things, still wearing some old trinkets, still wearing some old ornaments.
So, we just finished talking about our ornaments, and I'm going to ask you here to open up a little bit spiritually and reevaluate yourselves in sense of, are your ornaments hindering your worship?
But into my late 20s, I'm serious. I didn't have this release on me to lift my hands until then. And I look back now and I'm like, what took so long? Why? Who cares what everybody thinks around you? But I had so many ornaments as I was walking through every door. Because these ornaments would tell me that if you raise your hand, you'd get smacked in the head again like you did on a Sunday service at that Church of Christ that you were raised from. Quit causing a scene, boy. Wow. I brought these ornaments in, and it affected the presence of worship everywhere that I go. Now, am I saying that you have to raise your hands in order to be worshiping? Absolutely not. I know some of you guys are so filled with the Spirit and engulfed in the Spirit, and you don't have to raise your hands to know that you're feeling the presence of God and you're worshiping. I'm not saying that, but for me, that's what I longed for. I wanted to raise my hands. I wanted to be unapologetic on how I worshiped. I didn't want to care what anybody said or seen or heard. I didn't want to be like that. And it took so long for me to drop these ornaments out of my life and say, you're no longer going to be connected to me. You're nice and shiny, and sure, you give me a purpose because I can cling to something and say, well, this is where I'm from, and this is who I am. Absolutely not. I used to say that all the time, well, you're just going to have to get over it because this is just who I am. That is a lie from the pits of hell. God has not created us to be a certain way other than filled with the Spirit of God. And if they're filled with the Spirit of God, though, you'll see the fruits of that. It's called the fruits of the Spirit.
That wraps up week 5. Go grab you some dessert and come prepared Sunday, because we will be talking and discussing preparing yourself for worship. Y'all have a good week. God bless. That wraps up week 5. Go get you some dessert. Come prepared Wednesday, not Wednesday, Sunday, Caden. Come on, man. Ah! Is it still rolling? Yeah. Okay. What are your ornaments hindering your worship? Okay. Hardest part of keeping focus while finding liberty in your worship. Woo!
Go!
As Pastor Jack describes in this next clip we're about to show, each and every one of us. Side note, I promise I'm not a bad intern. And I'm not stupid. I just can't remember stuff. Y'all have a good week.